Rice is one of those very important cereal grains that can be, well, integrated in lots of different dishes. It's very versatile. It can be worked into a main dish, it can be a side dish, it can be a dessert, it can even be a part of a beverage. Rice occurs in lots of different cultures, and there's so many different flavors that you can get from this basic cereal grain. But let's start with the fundamentals. Traditional white is the classic that probably comes to mind first. This is a domestic long grain rice with a fluffy texture that you might see in southern dishes like red beans and rice. This is the traditional long grain brown rice. Doesn't really look all that brown at all, does it? Well, it has that layer of bran on it which makes it brown, and it has more nutrition and more fiber. Okay, now let's take a look at Basmati rice. Just like the traditional rice, it comes in brown and white. And what's different about Basmati, it's all about the fragrance. When you're cooking it, you walk into a room, you can actually smell it. It has a spicy-like quality. Now, not to make this overly complicated, let's talk about jasmine rice. Very popular in Southeastern Asian countries. Like the other two rices we just talked about, it comes in a brown and a white. It has a very light, delicate texture to it, but it's still a long grain rice. The key here is that its aroma, its redolence is very floral-like. Many find the brown form of jasmine rice is often likened to the flavor of oats. Now, if you're like me, you probably aren't going to use a full container of rice, so storage is important. You want to keep it as fresh as long as possible, and you can do that by just following a few basic principles. One, you want to keep the rice in a cool, dark place, and you want it sealed. You can take a container like this and put it in a Ziploc bag, for instance. That'll certainly keep insects and dust and that sort of thing out of it, or an airtight container. I like these types of jars, or even something that has a plastic lid on it that you can press the air out of it. A great place to keep dried rice, if you have the space for it, is in your refrigerator or your freezer. Now that we've covered the fundamentals of some of these rice varieties, try them out. Experience their subtle differences. You'll be glad you did.